Hey travelers, welcome back to the channel. In this episode of Traveler's Corner, I sit down with Travel with David. He's an interesting fellow, so let's get to know him. David, thank you so much for joining me here on Traveler's Corner.
Thank you very much for having me.
Please let everyone know about yourself and your blog.
So I am calling you today from my little slice of paradise, which is the west coast of Ireland. So my name is David, but my readers and my followers know me as Travel with David, formerly known as the Poor Student Traveler. And yeah, I started writing when maybe about 5-6 years ago, as the Poor Student Traveler, but now I've developed into Travel with David. I thought my name should be out there, and yeah, it's been a slow but steady process. So I'm here I am today, being interviewed by Nick Tours.
Wonderful. So let's jump into the hard-hitting questions here. Why do you travel?
Why do I travel? Well, I think no lesson in life can be learned better than the lessons that you get when you travel. So my first proper experience of quote unquote solo traveling, I was maybe 15 or 16, and I went for a month-long trip to Italy. So I was only a little baby, but I found myself in a very Italian part of Italy where not many people spoke English. So it taught me a lot about how to adapt in certain situations, and kind of showed me the kind of skills that I already possessed, and kind of taught me a lot about myself, and kind of bit my ass with the travel bug. So my first real taste of like travel was maybe about 10 or 11, traveling to the UK to see family and stuff like that. So it's not that far from Ireland. It's only about 45-minute flight. But since then, really, I've like I said, I traveled to Italy for a month. I lived in Spain for a year, so I've done like different kinds of traveling. But the traveling that I have only sets up for the traveling that I want to do. So which is kind of why I established my travel blog, because I am someone who does like to write down and keep memories, and I'm a bit of a hoarder, so I'll keep like ticket stumps and receipts, and I'm that person who's like, oh, do I need another fridge magnet? May as well buy it. So my fridge is like at an edge now because it's ready to fall over. But yeah, the blog was a good way that I could travel, write about it, but also share experiences with people in a way that is not just, oh, here's 10 things you can do in Vienna. It's here's 10 things you can do in Vienna, but it's me telling you. So it's a bit humorous. It's kind of like friends having a chit chat. That's kind of how I came about traveling. But the reason I travel, to answer your question, is to kind of just learn, gain more experience, and ultimately kind of boost up my friend group, because if there's one thing I love when I travel, it's meeting new people. And at this point I could go anywhere in the world and I'd have someone to call my friend there.
Amazing. What is your favorite way to travel and why?
So I've thought about this question a lot. So I feel like the cliche answer for people when you're like, oh, how do you like to travel? By plane. But luckily, since Europe is kind of created its own, I would say, like COVID area, not COVID area, but COVID-free area that we can travel around with only our vaccine passes. You know, it's kind of gotten a bit easier for people to travel within Europe without having to quarantine, whatever. So, you know, the last 4 months, I've tried to get a couple of trips in. So I've traveled 3 times, luckily, since in the last 4 months. So, you know, I've been to Finland, went to Scotland, and I went to Belgium. And, you know, I got to try different kinds of transport while I was in these places. But I would have to say, out of all the traveling that I've done, anything on a railway track has to be my favorite mode, like way of traveling. So that's, you know, train, tram, metro. So like on a train, you know, it's usually comfier than a bus, and you can sit down and you can, you know, usually there's a trolley that serves snacks, which, you know, if anyone who reads my blog know that I'm a huge foodie and I love my coffee. So having a cart that comes through serving, you know that scene from Harry Potter's, like, anything from the trolley and I'll take the lot, you know, that's me. I'll take the lot. So you know, sitting back, taking in the views of Finland or wherever I'm going. Then you have the tram, which I think is a super convenient way to get around because you're not stuck in traffic. And then you have a metro underground system, which most cities in Europe and across the States have as well. I just think they're super convenient. They super, you know, cost effective too for anyone traveling on a budget. And, you know, you just never have to worry. And also, for those who are environmentally conscious, they're a great way to get about too. And, you know, reducing your carbon footprint, which, you know, I do try to promote a little bit on my website, but you know, I do think being a responsible traveler too is very important. So
amazing. Train travel is the best way to get around, and
I know, like,
so
one of the things on my bucket list is like travel to North America and like go to different places, especially on like the eastern side of the country, by train. I think that'll be super cool. Amazing.
So, with all your travel behind you, what's your favorite country you visited and why?
That's a super difficult question because any country that I've been to, and yes, I can say some are better than others, but that's comparing. If I have each country or city as a standalone trip or entity, you know, they each have something very different to offer. So, I mean, Finland, fantastic experience. I got to meet up with friends again. Edinburgh in Scotland was fantastic. It was so historic. Brussels in Belgium, you know, had fantastic food and beer. And, you know, the thing that I do like about both Brussels and Edinburgh is that they have like a royal element about them, because they both have palaces and they're home to royal families. And, you know, I'm a sucker for the monarchy, you know. I'm one of those like hardcore The Crown fans. So
okay.
So my favorite country, I mean, the one experience I would say that is like I just can't compare to anything else is going on safari in South Africa. So I would say that at the moment, in terms of experience and something that like is beyond my comprehension of something that I've done, would be probably South Africa.
Okay. Very nice. I think that's one of my favorites too, South Africa.
Now, that being said, like South Africa in terms of experience, but like I said, if you're looking at things as a different entity, you know, South Africa's experience was something that I couldn't do anywhere else. Well, I could do in other countries in Africa, but I haven't been to any other countries in Africa. Actually, I've been to Morocco, but that's a separate thing. But if I'm to look closer to home, one of the best places I've ever visited was Prague in the Czech Republic. So I think that like I would go there again and again and again. Also Madrid, because it's my home away from home. I think anybody, if there's a place I'd ever recommend, it's Madrid in Spain.
Okay. Good to know. Good to know. So, with all those countries visited, do you have a favorite place to go to?
Probably Madrid.
Okay.
Madrid is the one place, no matter no matter where I go, as far as I go, I think it's the one place that I'm like, always have to have it in my travel calendar at some point, because yes, I still have a few friends there from when I lived there, but also the people in Madrid are so nice. There's so many things to do there. The food scene is fantastic. And then also anytime I go to Madrid, it's kind of like a little trip down memory lane of like, oh, I remember I went to, that bar, or I remember I went to that park with my friends, or, I'd done this and I'd done that. So, it's a place that's very special to me. So it's the one place that I would consider my favorite.
Very nice. So, with all the countries and places you've been to, is there one specific thing that you have done that you've enjoyed so much?
One specific thing I've enjoyed. Well, kind of back to like the place that I consider my favorite. Like every place that I've been to has had something that has been like a standout thing for me. Like a few months ago when I was in Helsinki, I went my first time ever in a Finnish sauna. But this one in particular, like you're in the sauna, but then you go and you have like a little swim for yourself in the Baltic Sea. Now, I never knew that was something that I wanted on my bucket list, but it's done. That was super cool, and then waking up at the crack of dawn in just outside Johannesburg in South Africa, so that you can get up and like try and find a leopard or see some animals in Kruger Park. It's just a kind of like a pinch yourself kind of moment. So I would say going on safari has to be one of the best things that I've done so far, and it's kind of given me like more of a reason to be more of a responsible traveler, because when you're in Kruger Park and you're with the tour guide or you're with the game driver or something like that, you do understand that like the care these people have to try and protect rhinos who are becoming endangered, to cultivate the growth of endangered species like painted dogs or certain types of cheetahs or types of cats or whatever. So I think being able to witness that firsthand is probably one of the best things I've ever got to do, probably will ever do.
I'm right there with you. My time in South Africa and having a personal safari tour was just amazing. So, you've already said that you're a foodie. So, I think I already know the answer to this question, but when you travel, do you eat local?
Absolutely. Not only do I eat local, I drink local.
And what has been your favorite thing?
Like, it's the one thing that I love, but I also don't love when I travel is, the Irish influence in countries and cities around the world just doesn't cease to amaze me. Like, no matter where I go, there's an Irish bar. And chances are you can go in there and find a potato. So no matter how far away from home I go, home is actually never too far away. So like I do make it a mission that no matter where I travel to at least try one Guinness. Just for research. It's research.
Understandable.
One day, a blog post that your viewers can look out for is best places in the world to get Guinness, I hope. So far, O'Reilly's in Belgium, in Brussels, best I've had so far.
Okay.
In terms of eating local, absolutely. I mean, I feel like if you travel to a place and you already say you don't like the food when you haven't tried it, is kind of defeating the purpose of you being in a place, if you get me.
Mm-hmm.
So like when you're in Prague, you are going to try like the different kinds of food that they have, the different ways that they prepare meat, you know, like borscht and stuff like that, and goulash. Like you're going to get like top quality stuff in different areas. You know, you don't always have to find yourself in a McDonald's or something like that. So, which, you know, I've been known to do as well. Go to a place and have kind of like a closed-minded attitude to the perception of that I have of a certain culture's food, and then find myself just, you know, with a full belly, looking like I'm pregnant on the food that is prepared in these countries. You know, the same in Germany with pretzels and like different kinds of sausage and stuff like that. Like top notch. Like cannot fault flavor. Like I'm salivating just thinking about it. You know, like what I said initially, that I spent a month in Italy, like pizza heaven, pizza pasta heaven. And then now that I'm older and I'm able to drink as well, it's a fun thing to like go on, you know, when I'm in Vienna, to try Viennese beer, or go to Prague, try Czech beer. And you know, same with coffee. Like anybody that has read my blog or chooses to read my blog, one of the things that you'll see up there is like little statistics on, you know, places that I've been to, photos that I've taken, but most importantly, the amount of coffees that I've had on the road. So no matter where I go, I'll even reach out to people on Instagram and stuff like that and be like, oh, you know, where would you go for a coffee? Like, what's your local place that's not a Starbucks or a Costa Coffee? So usually, or Tim Hortons, which are popping up even in Ireland now. I do love a Timmy's though. I do love a Timmy's, but yeah, local coffee shops, you know, if they're, you know, you can find hidden gems and things like this, and usually places that are local coffee shops, local restaurants, local breweries, local gastropubs, like you'll also find the best quality waiting staff in there, because they are also locals. They'll know where to go, they'll have information for you. So it's always worth going into places and trying the local food.
Amazing. So, is there a place that is on your dream list to travel to?
I would like to say it would probably be a shorter list for me to tell you where I don't want to go, but the list doesn't exist. So I'm that person that's on Instagram that's like sees someone in a different part of the world, it's like, I want to go there. Like currently I have friends in the Maldives. I'm like, absolutely, I want to go to the Maldives. I see my friends currently in Helsinki and it's snowing, and I'm like, I want to be there. My friend in Iceland, I'm like, absolutely, send me to the north and let me do my travel thing. But there's bits and pieces of all around the world that I want to see. Like, you know, I even want to go to places in Central Asia, like, you know, Uzbekistan and Kazakhstan and places like this, to find like the things that people wouldn't necessarily look out for in different places. You know, I kind of like the off the beaten path element, but you know, I just feel like there's so much out there that we can learn, that you can only learn in these kind of places, you know. So if there's one place that well, actually no, I'll give you my top 3 at the moment, okay, because Helsinki was in there. Now it's my bucket list of days past. So at the moment on my bucket list is Greece, because I love Greek history. You know, the Greeks kind of gave us the civilization that we have today. Turkey looks pretty cool, because there's not many other places in the world that kind of meets 3 continents at once. And Ethiopia would be another one. Okay. It might feel like, you know, Central East Africa is so cool. Like you're so close to Serengeti. Kind of like a mixture between Ethiopia and Tanzania would be the two places I'd like to go to.
Okay.
So yeah, that would be my top three.
Very nice. Very nice. Now, is there a place that you're dying to go back to?
Yes. Yes. See, I want to go back to Canada because the time that I spent in Canada was nice, but I kind of wish I kind of went out a bit more and saw more of where I was staying was just like around the greater Toronto area. So I mean, I did get to go see Niagara Falls, got to go up to Bruce Peninsula, got to go to Tobermory, you know, great places in kind of South Ontario area. I would definitely like to go back to Canada to see the different kinds of areas, you know, whether it's in like Quebec, whether it's in BC, like definitely would want to go back there. But also one thing I like to do when I travel, I like to collect flags, which is kind of like a new thing for me.
Okay.
So for me, the reason I collect flags is that one day, you know, when I host a huge Eurovision party, I can have all of my flags presented on the wall, or even better, make like a beautiful gown out of all these flags. Now, some of my flags are massive, like my Swiss flag is huge. I could make a dress out of that on its own. But yeah, there's definitely the places of the flags that I don't have, that I've been to, are definitely places that I have to go back to kind of fulfill my flag dream.
Amazing. Well, if you do come back to Canada, you know who to contact.
Yeah, I do believe that there's a tour guy there.
I think so.
Maybe.
So, with all your travel behind you, is there a tip or tips that you can give to new travelers starting out there, or travelers that have been doing it forever? What is one of your go-to tips for travel?
My go-to tips for travel. Kind of a hard one because I don't want to be cliche, but at the same time, my tip would be try and you don't have to try too hard, but do little things that can make your travel a little bit more responsible. You know, look at the way things are packaged. You know, when you're traveling, try and eat local, that you're supporting the local economy, that you're, you know, if you're buying fresh produce, you know, that goes back to a fair trade. Like, my tip is to just really think about your activity of travel and try and make it as sustainable as possible, so your footprint is then reduced, and you know, we can hold on to rhinos just a little bit longer, you know.
Amazing. That's a beautiful tip right there. David, thank you so much for joining me here on Traveler's Corner. Please let everyone know where they can find you.
So, for those who want to read up a bit more, you can find me at www.travelwdave.com, or if you want to find me on Instagram, it's travelwdavid. So, yeah, hit me up if you have any tips on places in your area. Just let me know, and I'll add it all to my bucket list.
I told you he was an interesting fellow. So, go down below and check out his blog and his Instagram. He has some amazing content. Guys, see you next time here on Nick Tours.